Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. Sorry, guys, I've been out for a little bit. I had to take up with some things in regards to work, but I wanted to get back into it. And so you see the title of this video, Why Passport Bros Hope the 4B Movement Comes to the USA in the West in general, and why we love it. Um, so as you know, there's been a lot of talk over the past probably like month or so in regards to this 4B movement that's been really popping up. Popped up on TikTok. A lot of the women in the U.S. Caught one of it, started making videos about it and talking about how they wanted to bring it to the USA. To anybody who's been a almost like a day one with me as far as my videos, if you remember, probably about sometime last year, I had already spoke on the 4B movement before. I had pretty much introduced it and talked about how it was taking place in South Korea. So anyway, I wanted to follow up on that in this video and kind of debunk some things and also tell you how this is a good thing, how this will be a good thing for for the West in general. A lot of people, I'm going to take an angle that most people didn't really think about. But to lead into that, first I wanted to start off with a little video that the Sandman did. Shout out to Sandman. I'm sure some of you already know about Sandman. But if not, please subscribe to his channel. He's a great content creator. Now, he's not necessarily a pastor, bro. He does more of the mid-gal type stuff. But I thought this video he did some time back was very, very interesting. And it kind of ties into the whole 4B movement. So I'm going to play it and I'm going to give my commentary. It's only going to be a second. But as you see, it starts off. There was 100,000 women in Iceland, and they wanted to boycott.
1,000 women went on strike today in Iceland to demand gender equality. The entire population is 370,000. So over 25% of the population went on strike. And I have some crazy news for you. The economy did not come to a stop and it continued as normal. The only memo I got was that HR departments were getting no complaints for the 24 hours that the women were on strike. And men were writing that they were really sorry women didn't get gender equality. But I heard one CEO said it was nice to finally get some done.
All right, so I'm going to end it there. So as you can see, in Iceland, there was a big boycott going on in regards to women's rights and that kind of thing. So one of the ways women wanted to boycott was they're going to say, well, we're not going to work in general. But as you can see, as we know, in most of the jobs, especially even in the United States, men pretty much work a lot of the hard jobs like plumbing, construction, and so forth. So it didn't really have really any effect for the most part. I wanted to lead in with that. And then also I wanted to lead in with this study. If you remember back, it was saying that by 2030, 45% of women will be single. So that being said, all the 4B movement is going to do is going to speed up the process. Like right now, if you think about it, technically we already have a 4B movement in the United States. And what is the 4B movement for those who have been like living under a rock? As you can see, it's a movement in which the women are trying to protest, the fight for their rights. And some of the tenets of it is they're going to say they're not going to have any sex with men. They're not going to do any more child rearing. They're not going to do any dating. They're not going to do any more marriage with men. And it's a way to protest men so that they get equal pay and that kind of thing. Now, the way it differs is that in South Korea, it's very, very expensive there. A lot of people can't really afford to live. So in many cases, having children is very, very expensive. And a lot of women can't really take off work to do so. So to some degree, you can kind of see why they might want to protest, because really they just want things to be fair so that if they become like a single mother, they can kind of take care of their kids and that kind of thing. And here's the weird thing. Originally, when you think about feminism in general, most men in general, I don't think we really have a problem with the first phase, which was just really women just saying they just want to be able to go out and work and so forth. And at the most part get equal pay. I don't think most men in general have really a problem with that. It's just the supremacy portion that we have, which is like the later phases. That's the biggest thing. So in a sense, you can kind of see where some of this might be coming from in South Korea. But what a lot of the U.S. women wanted to do, they wanted to piggyback on that and describe how much they're being oppressed and they're not getting the same rights and that kind of thing. As you know, there was an article recently that said one woman was saying she'd rather be caught in the woods with a bear instead of a man. And so, you still got this whole movement of, them all this make believe of men just being so oppressive and exploitative and all this kind of stuff. So I said it to say, so what a lot of women tried to do is they tried to flip this whole 4B thing and say, what a way we need to protest is we'll do the same thing in the 4B movement. We won't date any man. We won't be intimate with them. We won't marry them. And the funny thing is, they're already doing that. As I said before in the past, there was a study that said like 30% of men under the age of 30, I believe 18 to 30, had not had any sexual intimacy within like the last 2 years. And then recently I saw a study on Sandman's page in which they were saying I think it was like 44% of 20-year-old males had never been on a date. So what does that mean? That means a lot of the younger women, they're not dating these men in general. They've already done like the 4B thing. They're only dating like older men or men who have money and so forth. So in a sense, it's already there. That's why we have this study here that says by 2030, they're going to be single and they're going to be childless, single and childless, which is similar to the women in Korea already. So it really is no difference. Now, I know you may be asking like, why necessarily would that be a good thing? Because you saw my title, it said the Passport Bros, we actually love this. Okay, well, here's an angle that no one really thought about. So we do know that in the United States, these women, they are being intimate. They're just not being intimate with a lot of the Passport Bros, and like a lot of the, as we say, if you're not part of the 666 man, you're not 6 feet tall, you don't have six figures, you're not packing downstairs, that kind of thing. They're not really dealing with you. So then who are they dealing with? They're dealing with Chad, they're dealing with Brad, and of course, they're dealing with Pookie and Ray Ray, right? So as you know, in some communities, especially within like the Black community, we have like 80% single mother rate. Okay, who's birthing these children? It's mostly going to be Pookie, Ray Ray, Chad, and Brad. Even in the other communities, who's giving birth to most of the children? It's going to be the Chads and Brads and so forth. All the other decent men, like myself and so forth. What are we doing? We're doing the passport bro thing. So we're dating traditional women. Some of us are not even bringing that women back over here. So most of the children being born, they're being born by Pookie and Ray Rays and Chad and Brad, which is doing what, leaving single mother. As we know, these men, some of these men are not going to stick around, for the most part. So after they impregnate these women and so forth, or to be honest, they chase away Chad and Brad, or chase away Pookie and Ray Ray, right? They raise these single young boys who grow up all these emotional problems on a pathway towards jail. Now think about this: if they go towards the 4B movement, what does that mean? They'll be having less children by Chad and Brad, less children by Pookie and Ray Ray. So think about in the Black community, if there's less babies being born by Pookie and Ray Ray, what does that leave? That leaves only the productive men and the feminine women having children. Think about what the community will look like if Pookie, because if you would be honest, Pookie and Ray Ray has more children than the average guy, like the productive guy. Pookie and Ray Ray tends to have more children. So if there's less Pookie and Ray Rays impregnating women, think about what our community would look like. Same thing with even if you want to say Chad and Brad, they just say like they don't really these hard headed women don't want to deal with Chad and Brad or Tyrone anymore. What does that mean? That means these women are going to dwindle out of our genetic pool within the United States. So the only children that'll be getting born are children by women who are up under the program of passport bros, which means our seeds will be flourishing. Our seeds will be the main ones that'll be populating the United States, which means there's going to be a plethora of more women who are feminine, fit, friendly, want to deal with men. And these women who are on TikTok, those women will start to become the minority. So just think about what that would do for the community. Think about what that would do for USA as abroad. Now, to be fair, if that does happen, because again, the good thing about like Pastor Bros and the average decent man in general, we're not just trying to have babies left and right, so we're still going to be like, so as a result, the birth rate still would decline in the United States. And as you know, all they're going to do is they're going to start importing a lot of foreigners at that point to try to make up for the numbers. But in theory, I have no problem with it. You should have no problem with it. All it's going to do is dwindle out babies from Pookie and Ray Ray and maybe, Tyrone and Chad and so forth. That's all it's going to do. And the only thing that's going to be left is myself, the rest of Passport Bros. We're going to be main ones populating the country, which means there's going to be more men grow up who are just like us, think the same we are, and there's going to be more women who are like our wives that we're marrying. So that's why I don't have a problem with it. I actually love it. I actually like the idea because technically we're not dealing with these women in general. They don't really deal with us. The only difference is the motivation and why they don't deal with us. Before it was you guys are not 6 feet tall. You don't make $200,000 a year. I'm not going to deal with you. Now it's going to be, oh, because I'm oppressed, I'm not going to deal with you. Either way, what? They're not dealing with us. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You see what I mean? So only people that's really probably will complain is Pookie and Ray Ray and maybe Tyrone or like one like Leonardo DiCaprio or something like that. Those are the only people that probably have complaints, but we won't have any complaints because as you can see, they're not really even our woman who's like on our same look scale. She's not really dealing with us like that. She thinks she deserves Denzel Washington. So what does it matter if she says I'm not going to no longer deal with men? You're not dealing with the average man to begin with. That so it does. We're not really phased by all this. So that's my 2 cents on it. I'm not intimidated by it. Pastor Rose, we're not intimidated by it. We've been dealing with hard-headed women for probably like the past 50 years. Women who don't want to settle down with a decent man for the past 50 years. What does it matter now if their motivation changes and why they're not going to deal with us? That doesn't really matter. In fact, it actually helps us because we'll populate the country with more feminine, submissive women, which will probably be our daughters, and then we'll also have less men coming from single parent homes, which mostly is going to be from Pookie and Ray Ray and the women who are dealing with them. Or I guess in the non-black community will be like Bubba or the guy, that kind of ilk, like the I hate to say it, but the riffraff of the other communities that are impregnating these women. Those women won't be having babies with them anymore, which means there's going to be less of that. There's going to be less crime, probably less men in jail. So it's good overall for like the dating community, the whole situation in general. Only thing that will suck, like I said, is that we'll have a declining population, which again I said at the worst we'll probably just have to import a lot of foreigners to begin with. That's the most that'll probably happen. It would be nice for us to populate it. Now maybe what they'll do is they'll probably give people more incentives, specifically us, the average guy who's bringing his wife from overseas, maybe from the Philippines, maybe Brazil, you're bringing it back to the United States. They may give you incentive to have more children. So instead of us just having 1 or 2 children, they might give you incentive to have 5 children, 6 children, and so forth. It'll be very interesting. But either way, I love it anyway. It doesn't matter to me. So the women who are difficult to deal with, they're going to start evading me. That's perfectly fine with me. Not to mention, like I said, it's gonna better the communities because we'll be the ones actually now populating the communities instead of us being outnumbered by the population of degenerate, some of the riffraff and the degenerate population out there. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I guess the video is a little bit shorter than some of my other ones, but I just wanted to touch on that. I'm gonna try to do more videos consistently, get back on track on this whole situation. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about the 4B movement? Do you think it's a good thing? You think it's a bad thing? Please leave your comments. I'll respond to them. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. And until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.
Dear Passport Boys, dear Passport Bros, stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Are you going to the Philippines to look for a Filipina queen or what? So stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Start calling yourself Passport Kings.